Based on the callers calling in today, and based on, the other negative effects that this virus has, or the closures have on people, and we've seen and heard that, I'd really like to see us come to some sort of a balance or compromise, because we're really, these closures, nobody likes them, and I get that. But I think if we had, more of a compromise or a balance moving forward that would allow these businesses that are being shut down, who by our health officers' own admission and everybody else's, they're not really to blame. It's more of a community behavior. And, the people that are defiant, I was on the news this morning, and some business was defying, the acts, and their restaurant was going to stay open. And these are good people. They're not normally law-breaking people. They're normally law-abiding, and they're being defiant primarily because they have no other choice. This restaurant or this business or this that they have, this not only is their income, it's their life savings, it's their dream, it's their mortgage, it's their kids' college payments. It's all those things. And we just kind of shrug it off our shoulders and say, well, it's a state doing this, and we have to comply with the state. I just think it's kind of a bad idea that yesterday, I was kind of surprised to hear that we had 29 cease and desist notices that were given out yesterday. So it seems like enforcement will increase until behavior changes. That doesn't work. You need to reward good behavior and reinforce those actions. The restaurateurs that called in today says, we're doing all the things right. We're putting in all the provisions. We put in the plexiglass. We're using we're doing everything Dr. Wooten is asking. And we're being punished. So and then we go in and punish them for staying open because they have no other choice. I think what we've done here, at least here in the state of California, is we've induced complacency. And the complacency by inconsistent messaging, moving the goalpost. We got a tiered system with no green light, which is actually a stagnation system. Someone had mentioned about how our leaders in Sacramento are not adhering to their own rules. And there's no clear data that puts any correlation between the businesses that are being shut down and as to the number of breakouts. I think it's primarily because of complacency and frustration, and it's getting colder outside. People aren't going out as much as they did. People aren't going for walks. People are staying in, and we're actually forcing them to stay in more often by these closures. And as the tracing information has told us, the biggest area where people say they were, or where they were in contact with other people, was at home. And by forcing people not to but you can't go dine in at a restaurant, they're going to do it in their backyards, they're going to do it in their homes, they're going to have friends over. The holidays are coming up. These businesses are just going to implode with a 3-week shutdown. So I'm going to make a substitute motion as a compromise. Probably won't pass, but I think we have to be realistic with the citizens that we represent. So throughout the past 7 months, I've followed the data and the facts and the science. I've listened to our public health officials and all the great work that they've done. I've tried to get as much information as possible. I've talked to many different sources and put out podcasts and things like that, trying to get all the information when it comes to the virus. And I am very concerned about the increase in positive cases. And the fact that it's more a behavior issue than a business issue is very concerning. And heavier enforcement is not the answer. So I hope everyone realizes and keep in mind that this balance is needed, including in the economic impact. The fact that we have strip clubs open and churches are not heading into the holidays does not make sense. We've got many kids not going to school right now, and that is not optimal. Rady's Children's Hospital reported a substantial increase in suicide attempts, physical abuse, and sexual abuse. And we know it's going to be like this until we have a vaccine. This is the new normal, which is great news about the potential vaccines. But we also have to be knowing that we have to get along with where we are and how we are, we're going to be in purple for a long, long time. Our kids and our neighbors and our loved ones are suffering physically and mentally. I mentioned the woman about to jump off a bridge in North County the other day. In government, we tell the people to abide by a set of rules, and yet our leaders live by another set of rules. Some people are trying to frame this as a choice between opening businesses or saving lives. I don't buy into that. I believe we can do both, and we can do both. We can save lives and have our businesses open. And you've heard me contend, and I still will say it, that churches are essential. So is fitness. So are people being able to earn an income to pay for food and housing and bills. Anxiety is just crazy, off the charts. As Scott Ashton for the Oceanside Chamber said, we've had 36,000 job losses in North County, Oceanside, Carlsbad, San Marcos, Vista, and Escondido. The state is aiming at the wrong targets. We should be focused on those private gatherings and on workplace transmission. People should telecommute from work as much as possible and follow all of Wilma Wooten's suggestions. I also think it's not necessarily safer to close those limited businesses that are open. And as it was already mentioned in October, and Dr. Wooten made a great case in the adjudication saying that for October, that penalizing the impacted sectors for case increases is wrong, as these sectors continue to do the right things on trying to weather the ongoing pandemic and the back and forth reopenings. And again, there's no single driver responsible for the cases. What we need is behavior change. We can't do it by doing the same things we've done all along. Additionally, the closure of indoor restaurants, especially during the winter time where outdoor dining is not optimal, will move individuals into homes and encourage gatherings, which is one of the highest risk venues for COVID transmission. Now, the state has already done for salons and tattoo parlors and barber shops. The state has allowed those businesses to open and operate in the purple tier. Adult establishments are operating indoors right now. Let's stand up and have a compromise to work with our businesses and the residents of San Diego County that allow them to stay open at least to what they were in red. Restaurants at 25%, churches to 25% up to 100 people, museums at 25%, and gyms. So I'll start the motion finally. I think what we first have to do is make businesses aware of the risks and the potential that they may face by the state. But I'd like to make the motion that we support all businesses that have been forced to close indoor operations, the gyms, the restaurants, the places of worship, and museums, to be able to go back to their capacities allowed in the red tier. I'd also like to request that our public health officers push the state to implement these businesses to operate in the purple tier as they were in the red. And in the meantime, we limit our cease and desist closures to only enforcement of safety practices and not shutting down businesses. In other words, make the red the new purple. That's my motion.